YouTube? Back in the shop again today. I have not recorded anything in a long time. No, let me rephrase that. I've recorded stuff, I just haven't got it out yet. I've been pretty busy. We had our last tough truck race. Pretty much everything I owned broke. I've been last, I don't know, month and a half just trying to fix everything I own. We lost our generator. My tough truck battery went dead. Pulled the battery out of my kid's car to make it run. We ended up getting second place. We got beat by 0.2 of a second, so not by very much. We didn't drive super hard. First time on the course. Lost our battery. It slid over and arced against cage and killed my tough truck because it still has a security system in it that I haven't dealt with yet. So that's on my list to fix too. But we lost our generator, our brake controller on our truck, my wife's radiator in her car. Shackle mount broke on my trailer for my tough truck. My little trailer broke. Battery in my four-wheeler died. It was just a rough weekend, so I've been trying to catch up. Winter's coming soon. I've been picking up the backyard, all of our hoses, all that kind of stuff. So been pretty busy, so I haven't recorded anything. But now today we are on this. This is my plow truck. I bought this thing super cheap. It's got a 6-cylinder in it. I got it super cheap because of that. Somebody dropped a tree on the bed. When I bought it, it had a topper on it. I went straight to the dump, threw that in the dump. I bought this knowing I was going to build a flatbed for it someday because it is going to be my plow truck. I had a different plow truck that was just rough, a lot of work that I didn't want to deal with. This thing's fuel injected. It's a 6-cylinder, doesn't leave my property. I throw this thing in chains. It pretty much lives in chains. The only time it leaves my property is to get gas. Usually during the winter I put about 5 gallons in it at a time out of jerry cans so I don't drive on the pavement because I don't want to take the chains on and off. But plan someday is I'm going to do kind of maybe a builder series, something like that, on building this flatbed. I have some pretty good ideas. I want to make it really cool, but then again, on the other hand, I'm kind of like, it's just my plow truck, so it might end up really simple. But I have a really cool design drawn out for about the last year. I just haven't got around to this. I'm going to end up bobbing the bed on the back, cut it off right behind the leaf spring, so it's got a super short flatbed on it. But I'll get some weight on this thing so it actually plows a little better, because it plows good. It's just a light truck because it's only a half ton. When I bought the other plow truck, it was like a 76 Chevy 3/4 ton. And I just couldn't keep the thing running. I'm not a great mechanic. I do it out of necessity. But I did get this sweet plow off of it. I paid $1,500 for the plow and the truck. The check valves, or I think they might even call them orbital valves, for the left and right, would only stick one direction. So I pulled this whole pump apart on the plow. And I pulled the check valves out, cleaned everything out, and there was a bunch of gunk in them, put them back in, and everything works good again. I did have to replace the hoses when I put it on this truck. I built this entire mount. This is all 1.25" Schedule 40. It's kind of like off-road kind of meets snowplow to me. It has a couple of spots here in the middle where it mounts to the bumper right here, and on the other side. Then it has this whole framework underneath that bolts to where the old hooks used to be. When I got this truck, there was no hooks on it, so these are the hook mounts. And then I actually ran this channel iron back. I built all this out of scrap I had laying around. Hopefully you can see that. It's a little dark, but it comes all the way back, and then it mounts into this where the independent suspension mounts in. So it's pretty stout underneath. All that's quarter wall. It's just stuff I had laying around from a bike rack I was going to build. But today, since winter is coming, this is what I'm going to address right here. Hopefully you can see this weld right here. And then you come down a little bit more, and this weld right here cracked. Last year I hit a really big rock and broke one of the springs on it, but it cracked the blade right here. This blade's almost toast. I'm going to try to get through this winter on it, then I'll replace it. If you look at it, you can really tell somebody has already flipped this blade. You can see there's a taper in it, tapering down narrower on this end. So somebody's already ran this side, they flipped it over. I'm running on this side. I still have quite a bit more. I mean, there's inch and a half before I actually get to the plow surface itself. So I'm gonna, normally I would pull this off, I would V-grind this from both sides and I would weld this out. With the amount of blade I have left, I'm just gonna V-grind this front. I'm gonna blow all this dirt out because I was pushing dirt with it too this summer. I'm gonna V-groove this side and I'm just gonna weld it right here. Hopefully I don't get enough penetration to actually hit the plow surface. Hopefully I get enough just to make it through this winter, and then next winter I'll replace this. Like I said, there's about 1.5 inches of blade left before it actually gets into the plow. This should get me through the winter. I did notice where my skids are here too. Somebody's welded these before. I'm gonna probably grind this out and run another pass on that. Definitely looks like maybe a farmer welded it. I don't know. We're gonna make it pretty though. I'll probably weld it, grind it back smooth, and then I'll paint it again. When I bought this plow, I did repaint it. I've had it a 1.5 winters, I think. And it's already getting beat up, but keep in mind, I use this thing like it's a DA cat. I push dirt with it. I push anything I can because I don't want to work hard. I want to work smarter, not harder. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'll show you what I'm going to do when I get to it, but I am going to have to come through and grind all this paint off where the welds are so I can get these welded back up. I'll V-groove that. Then weld it up, maybe a root pass and then a finish pass over the top of it, just to make sure that makes it through the winter, because I don't want to be working on this thing in the middle of winter when it's snowing. So we had a pretty mild winter last year. This thing saw a few times out, but not a whole bunch. The winter before was unreal. No, sorry, the winter before that, so 2 winters ago, was unreal. We did not have this plow truck. I had a little plow on my Rhino, my little side-by-side, and it wouldn't do it. My buddy bought a plow and he was plowing us out like all winter. We were actually snowed in like 7 days, and we just live in the valley in Helena, Montana, so it was pretty wicked. There was probably 6-foot drift on our main road that we couldn't get out, and it's maybe 1/4 mile to the main road that they actually do plow. So I had to ski out a few times for groceries. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna try to get this cleaned up and ready for winter. Probably put the chains on it because it's feeling a little fallish out there. So that's the game plan. Okay, so I want to show you guys what I did. So I have a little air, it's like almost like an air grinder, like a die grinder. I got a carbide burr, so I went in and I got as much of the paint as I could off of here. I got a little bit down in this crack. It's probably gonna make a little bit of ugly in the end of my weld there. I'm gonna try to stop right before that paint, but I did it in both spots. Just get the paint off because it's not good to weld through paint. It just makes a really weak weld. So I went through, I'll show you the tool that I used. It's just that, it's a pneumatic air grinder. It's got a carbide burr in it. I got that at my local weld shop like, I don't know, 10 years ago. I think it's like a cool, it's not really a 1/4 inch, it's more like 3/8 carbide burr. It's just a ball on the end, so I get down there and create a little groove. And then down here, what I did, I just came through and I just cut this in a V going this way and this way. Sorry, that probably wasn't real great. Cut it at a V going both directions, so I got a little gap there to fill now. So I should be able to run one pass through here just to get me through. I put this clamp on here trying to get this to smooth out a little bit. This was actually pulling away because you can see I'm between this bolt and the bolt over here. So this side's wanting to lift. So I put the clamp on there to pull it back, and I was gonna do a root pass and a finish pass. I think I can get it in one pass just going down through. It should, this is like 1/2 inch plate. Usually with something that thick, you really want to run a root pass and a cover pass. Like I said, this is only going to try to get me through this winter. I'm buying a new blade next year. I'll probably build the new blade next year. But this will just get me through this winter. So I'll run one pass through here. If it cracks, like I said, I'm just plowing. I'm not commercial. I'm just doing my own driveway. So I got, I don't know, 600 foot of driveway that I do. Then I usually plow the main road outside of my house. They have a guy down the road, the county plow that plows in front of my house. So if he doesn't plow, I do the main road too, just so I can get out. But other than that, it's mainly, you know, 600 foot of road, and it's like a 26-inch top, I think. 26-foot top, I think, is what my main road coming to my property is. It kind of makes a big loop coming through in front of my shop, mainly so the steel guy can come in one direction, drop my metal, and drive right out. Same with my garbage man. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll get this welded up and get back to you guys. All right, so I got that one all welded up. Sorry, you're getting a little bit of my shadows from my lights. Got high bay lights in here. I got a 14-foot ceiling, so it's kind of gives me a little bit of shadows sometimes. Got both those welded up. We'll throw some paint on them so they don't rust. I came back through. It's not a perfect weld, but like I said, it's only gonna make it through this winter. I'm ditching this thing. The blade itself. I did end up doing a root pass, then a cover pass, and I welded vertically up. So I started at the bottom and going up. As I did this, just kind of hold on each side as you're going up, and it'll tie in really good. That should be strong enough to get me through this winter so I can buy a new blade or build a new blade next winter. That's it. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna clean these up and re-weld. You can see who owned this before me. They welded it from the backside, so I'm assuming this is either their penetration or they came back through and put this scabby little weld on the front, because that's right where the skids on the bottom of the plow under here. There's a piece of angle iron that like welds to the back. Looks like they busted them off before and welded them back on. I got a couple little divots here I'm gonna try to bend up, just kind of clean it up. And obviously I'm gonna have to repaint this front where my penetration came through. You can see kind of took the paint off, so we'll get that all cleaned up and this job will be done. All right, so I got all my welds put in there and ground smooth. So one thing I'll tell you, I took my 4.5-inch grinder with my cutoff wheel. So this guy, little thin cutoff wheel, and I took that and I put it in right in every one of the cracks, and I just ran down the crack just to put a little line there, mainly so I could see it when I was welding, and to make sure that my penetration went into this plow good enough to where it would tie that together and not be an issue. So that is one thing I did do, a little secret. Make the crack a little bigger, you get better penetration. The other thing I wanted to show you, so I got a couple little wowies here on both sides of this plow. It's a pretty good technique to get stuff done that, yeah, it's just kind of roughing it in. Take your American Standard adjustable crescent hammer, put it on there. This is really good for bent wheels too. I worked at a tire store for, I don't know, like 20 years. So if you take your crescent wrench here, leave it a little wide, and you stick it on there, you can pull these dents out. If you have a wheel that's bent, same thing. Put it on the lip of the wheel, you can bend it back. This is just to rough something in. It's never going to be perfect, but it'll get most of the dents out. If you have a bent wheel, a dent in a wheel, dent in a plow, depending on which way you put the crescent wrench, it will pull a little bit different, and you can pull some of this imperfections out. Then you can come back through. Like, this is pretty thick. This is probably, I don't know, like 10 gauge, maybe 1/8 inch, somewhere in there. Pretty close, same size. But it will allow you to pull some of them dents out. Like I said, this is a snowplow. I just didn't like the dents there, so I'm gonna paint this thing here in a minute. So pull some of them out. As you can see, like, it's pretty haggard right there, pretty beat up, but the two big dents that I had that were probably back into here, I've pulled them back straight now. So same with the other side. I did this little section. I'm gonna come back and work this a little bit more.